Hello, everybody. Good evening. Today is February 10th, Tuesday at 7 p.m. in California time, Pacific Standard Time. If you're watching live, welcome. I hope there's many that are watching live, but if not, you can always watch it, of course, when this session ends and it's recorded. You're more than welcome to leave a comment and chat with me. Let me know where you're from. I'm going to go ahead and read the safe space parameters of this podcast, Dragonfly Discussions, so that we just kind of set some parameters of how you know what to gauge yourself in and then what it's all about, and decide for yourself if you want to stay. So my name is Cheyenne. I am the author of Dragonflies and Demons autobiography book, which I launched in 2021 worldwide. I wrote it, started in 2015, and then put it down and then reignited the dream in 2019 and then launched it in 2021. So we're doing chapter reads, and we're just about finishing with chapter 6. So welcome to my podcast, Dragonfly Discussions. You're welcome to enter your name and location you are from. I am thrilled you're listening, and I hope you enjoy this session together. Sorry about that. Another safe space parameter. Please use your own safe space parameters amongst the chapters I read, which may arouse emotions or memories of your own. You are welcome to excuse yourself or stay. So I'm not here to guide all of that. That is your decision and your parameters. So you make the best decision for yourself. But I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that everyone is here, whether they listen later or not. But first, I want to explain what I tried to do. I tried to do something for Sundays. Sundays they used to be my time going to church. I would go to the UU church and I would set up my table for the holiday gift bag, serving 2,500 women in prison for the Christmas time, or I would be social justice. I also led on my own, but I incorporated the church for a nature group, which has about 4 or 5 hikes a year around Fresno. I was really involved, and so I tried to reinvent something, and it didn't go very well last Sunday, and I've decided to just cancel that whole idea altogether. This reflection and intention spiritual Sundays. I need to not be online. I need to not be spending my attention on you or elsewhere. I need to spend my attention on me. And so Sundays were always that for me when I went to the church and got rejuvenated by the people I would see and the hugs that I would feel and the updates that we would get, the weeklies, and the smiles and just the compliments and just the whole energy was just so incredible. So I really miss that. And so I was trying to recreate something like that. And I'm still going to go out and do things in nature. I'm just not going to record it. I'm not going to be online. It's just going to be for me. I might take pictures and share them on my Facebook and social media, Instagram, all that stuff. But I'm definitely not going to be live on TV ever again on Sundays. That was insane. There was so much distraction. There was so many people that I thought I struck it gold getting there, and there was no one there. And then within like an hour, it swarmed. And there were so many people that I'm just like, no, this defeats everything that I really wanted to do. And I'm irritated. So I just ended it after 16 minutes. And if you happen to see it, it's in the lineup of recordings. I'm going to keep it there just because it's funny. But you see me end it being like, there's a big truck here. It's over. And there was a big old truck with this awful exhaust. And I'm, I'm not sorry, but trucks, they consume so much pollution and they just don't respect our planet, and they're loud, and don't talk to me about big trucks. I'm not impressed by big trucks. So we're on page 221 of chapter 6, and of my book, Dragonflies and Demons, which you can find on Amazon. You can Google search it. You can find your own platform that you prefer. Audio, paperback, hardcover, and ebook. So this is now Bad Love, because I just left a boyfriend that I moved in, my very first relationship after rehab. I moved in with him, and he ended up being this complete, disgusting of a man. Alcoholic, abusive, verbally, mentally, psychologically, emotionally. He was just awful. And he was this big old kid who was spoiled and couldn't even hold down a job. And so the final straw had happened where he was abusive towards me, and I thought I was going to die. So after that, I figured I am going to leave this man because my life is pretty much on the line. And I'm not going to tolerate this. So I reached out to my stepbrother, who was in real estate at the time. And I said, Jason, I need you to help me get an apartment and get the hell out of here. I'm going to leave this man. And it's not the first man I've left. It's funny. One's left me. Only one. And you'll hear about that too in chapter 7. But it's unfortunate. I've had to leave a couple of guys. So this is page 221, Bad Love, subchapter Bad Love of chapter 6. On March 10th, 2012, so we were all the way that far back, 2012, I moved out and left Mike permanently. That was my boyfriend at the time's name. I had never left a man before. I'd never left a man before. Usually it's like a mutual breakup where like drugs or something horrible happened to where we were broken up, but not by like our choice kind of thing, it falling apart. It wasn't just a lover spat. It was my life at stake. Like I was telling you, he was abusive. My 2-year hell was finally over. I lived with him for 2 years, and it was hell. However, a new obstacle then stood in front of me. I was now living on my own and in Fresno, where I didn't want to really return in the first place. So Fresno, if you've been following, or you will go back and watch previous chapter reads, but Fresno held all of my drug memories, all of my drug addiction, walking the streets, in and out of jail, the stores I stole from, the neighborhoods, the parks, like everything. So, a lot of that can come back to haunt you. And I remember an intro, they told us to pray over those areas and to say that I'm no longer bound. I am released of those chains. I covered this area in the blood of Jesus, and I'm forgiven, and I'm no longer, it doesn't have any power over me. And I remember saying all of these things in rehab and intro, and I said that with conviction because I really was done. I was so done, and I really wanted to heal my hometown. I wanted to heal my hometown with my own self, with the relationship of my own hometown. I didn't want to look at Fresno in such a horrible way. So as much as I did that, and I came to all the recovery and resilience that I developed, it was still scary to be on my own in Fresno. It was something to be a visitor, but like to live on my own now and to come out of a horrible relationship with that, like that, and losing my father and recovery. I'm just fresh out of rehab. Like, talk about every type of obstacle hitting you and making you want to just give up, relapse, do something, right? Like, it was a lot. It was a lot. I was holding down a lot. But I had to leave him. I had to leave him. Um, I loved Visalia, and Fresno was where my demons remained, the ones that I had overcome. Such demons as the drug spots, where I would score drugs, old neighborhoods, all the places I begged for change, and the jail where I spent a lot of time. We have a main jail in Fresno, downtown. I was scarred and doubtful if I could remain sober if I stayed in Fresno. I really was nervous. The day finally arrived for me to move out of the place with Mike and into my own place. Mike sat on the couch the entire time as I slowly packed up the moving van and left him. Like, literally, he didn't help me for shit. He just sat on that freaking couch, drank, and played his stupid video games and just watched me go back and forth in and out of that house. God, he was such a horrible, horrible boyfriend. My new apartment was beautiful. Yes, the new place that I was going into was really, really beautiful. It was a one bedroom, one bath apartment that came with a washer and dryer. Like, it was a double stack washer and dryer that was tucked in this little hallway closet. Like, it was the cutest apartment. Had a bar, open kitchen, like bar in the kitchen, and then open living room, and then deck. I was upstairs in a big, beautiful, nice um, balcony, and my cats had room to play, and we had all our own room. It was so amazing. It had an open kitchen that looked into the living room. It was upstairs and had a balcony that overlooked the open sky. I have always been fortunate, still to this day where I'm living, to have an open sky view. Like, thank you, universe, because that is very important to have. I was thrilled. Finally, my cats had room and space to roam freely. It was I finally found peace. And my cats, like, literally, we were all stuck up in this one bedroom upstairs with Mike, and there was a master bedroom, but we never shared that bedroom at all. He went in there and used it for his own disgusting stuff because he watched porn. But we never shared the bed because he slept on the couch downstairs after he would drink himself to oblivion and play video games and whatnot. I would go upstairs with my cats, sleep in that bed with them, and that was our lovely relationship. So now I'm in a place of our own, and I'm just like, we are so excited. The cats are like running around. We are so happy. It was such a dream come true after going through hell for like 2 years with him. I loved my place, and together with my stepmother's help, we made it into a nice, cozy home. I continued to work hard at UPS and help my stepmother as much as possible. Often I had to fight the loneliness and sadness from the pain of losing my father and now losing my first boyfriend after coming home from rehab. I pondered on the abuse Mike put me through and the ugly words he said to me repeatedly. It was hard rebuilding my life again. It really was. And I felt like half of myself was actually missing without my father. So when you lose your parent, I don't know if this happens at all ages, but when you lose a parent, I think it happens for a lot of us, but that's half of your identity, right? So, like, you feel like half of you is gone. And it's the most lonely, empty, scariest feeling you could ever imagine. I began to miss my father deeply and yearned for him to hold me again and just tell me his usual words of wisdom. Thoughts of suicide and drugs crept into my head as well. In a moment of weakness, I reached out to a friend who could find cocaine, and he did. So, this is a really hard moment that I am not proud of that happened. Um, and I don't chalk it up as being anything more than it was just a slip. So that's why I don't chalk it up as restarting my whole sobriety. I still consider myself to have the time that I have. Um, like I said, it was a thing that I was feeling at the time, and I really was in a bad space. And luckily, I survived. So to each their own and their own walk in recovery. Um, that's what I'm comfortable with, and I can admit that I did do this, but I still have 21 years sober of heroin and cocaine. Um, so I reached out to a friend who could get cocaine, and he did. I then ordered needles on the internet. Yeah, you can just go online and order needles. It was a warm, sunny day when I inserted a syringe full of cocaine into my vein. Immediately, I fell to the floor, gasping for air as if my heart was about to stop. Seriously, it was the most scary thing I could ever. I was scared to death because here I had been sober for a long time. We're talking 3, 4 years now. And I probably used maybe the equivalent of what I was using back when I was a heavy user. So that's the danger thing is people think that you can go back to using that same huge amount, and you can't. You can't. You can't. You have to take it small. And I'm one that always pushed the envelope, and I took way too much, and I literally thought I was going to die. I thought my heart was going to stop and I was going to die right there. And I thought, my God, really? So I tried keeping myself calm and prayed to God not to let me die in this way. I didn't really want to die, and certainly not this way. I didn't want to break my promise to my father either. I knew that if I died at that moment, no one would find me for days. I knew how tragic my death would be to my family. So, I mean, here I am alone. I'm a single woman. Like, my family didn't really check on me. We didn't check on each other all that often. So it would probably be a couple of days. Somebody might wonder, where's Cheyenne? So by that time it would be too late, to revive me from an overdose. So that's what I mean. After the cocaine eventually wore off, I got up and drank some water. Then I fell to my knees and began to cry hysterically over what had just almost happened. I had nearly overdosed and died. Then I asked my Father and God to forgive me. I promised them once again that I would never touch drugs again like that. And I never did. November 29th of the same year marked the 5-year anniversary of my father's death. My family got together for pizza at his favorite place, Me and Ed's. Me and Ed's has always been our family favorite pizza place, and his favorite. And we celebrated his life. I continued to be successful at UPS, hiring and helping hundreds of people. So I'm HR, part-time HR at UPS, and I was very successful. I loved that job. And so that's what I'm talking about here with UPS. I also opened up my cleaning company in December. It was titled Dragonflies Cleaning Company. No wonder, right? Dragonfly. It was cool though. I had like my business name, and it had like on top of it, it had like dragonflies flying up above, like into the sky. It was kind of like purple, and I just cleaned houses and cleaned properties that were getting ready for sale on and being put on the market because my stepbrother had a real estate company or has a real estate company. So I was doing pretty well. I was like, because I like cleaning, and it was pretty good. It was a legit little job. My slogan was swift like the dragonfly. And I was fast. I was fast. I didn't lollygag and pull your time and, overstretch my time and then charge you. Like some cleaning people are like, oh, I didn't know how long it was going to be and how much involvement. So I underquoted you. So now you need to pay more. No, I knew what it took and I charged accordingly. I gained up to 10 clients to maintain their homes each month, as well as other homes, which my brother, being a real estate broker, he would hire me to clean houses for and to have them ready for market value. Everything was going well on the surface. However, deep inside, I was still struggling with my identity, my relationship with God, and the loss of my father. It became very hard for me to feel like I was a part of anything anymore. I often wondered if my father's death was a trade for mine. How could I still be alive after all that I had done to destroy my life? And my father, who loved life to the fullest, was gone. Like it was a real battle for me to understand. And I was raised Catholic. Then I go into a Christian program. I study only Christianity and the Bible. And I believe and I believe and I believe and I believe in miracles. And I'm praying and praying and praying and praying that I can make this cancer go away and he's going to survive. And nope, he dies. And it was a real shake to my faith. It was a real shake because I didn't deserve, in my opinion, I didn't deserve to live. He definitely lived so much of a better life than I ever lived. Hell, I wasted the last, 10, 15 years of my life in drugs and stupid decisions, right? My dad didn't do any of that. He was a good man and he didn't deserve to catch brain cancer and die suddenly. So I had a real hard time with God and I was really angry with God. Our relationship really took a plummeting dive, not to where it is now. And I was really upset with God, and I felt very betrayed, and I was like, you lied to me. I believed in you. I prayed to you. How could you take the one, only one important person in my life? How could you take him away? How could this be happening? So it was really, really hard. It was so freaking hard to stay sober and to not just give up. I'm not kidding. It was so hard. And it still is sometimes. But it was really hard in the beginning. So I was really lost and I was really full of a whole lot of emotions. So we are on page 223, subchapter spiritual connections. So my father passed in 2009. No, 2007. I'm sorry, 2007. I came home in, 2007. So now we're into like 2013, 14, 2015 time frame. And I'm still trying to find my connection with spiritual, with nature, with trying to be connected. I've been reading books on, spirituality and law of attraction, and um, just trying to stay connected in ways. Um, so this is what I mean by spiritual connections, and I still have them. It's actually grown tremendously. Since my father's passing, I have been fortunate enough to experience and witness on several occasions spiritual connections. And these can be anything to your own connection. It doesn't have to be mine per se. Maybe you relate, but it could be anything that is really special and spiritually connected, like you're getting a message. You're getting a message from the unknown in a way through nature or through people sometimes or through movies or songs. Um, so, connections that indicate that my Father is still with me and that God is still guiding me. A spiritual connection is when something or someone speaks to your spirit or your soul. It's a message or meaningful feeling that brings joy, light, peace, happiness, and clarity to your life. And that's kind of the key thing too, is it kind of it answers something, or it like brings it to full circle, or it clarifies like a question you've been struggling with, or it guides you in a way that's really resonating. Hardly ever are they negative or saying you're going to hell or saying that you're a bad person. They're not normally negative. If they are, then I would ask for some kind of spiritual cleansing or a wash, maybe of your house and yourself, to just cleanse that off and just clear all of that out. Because I've had that done over me. I mean, demons have definitely come after me. That's why my book is Dragonflies and Demons, because I have wrestled, literally, I've wrestled with some demons in the other world. Um, okay, I don't want to scare you. sometimes spiritual connection, sometimes spiritual connections can answer puzzles in a person's life and bring closure to aspects that needed healing. So, like, you might be struggling with something, and then you might see something, or something might come your way, and you might read something and be like, "Whoa, how did that know I needed to hear that? How did that know that I needed to read that or experience that?" So sometimes that's the weird phenomenons that we can't experience. And that's what I call spiritual connections. As for myself, I see spiritual connections in hawks, butterflies, dragonflies, numbers, random strangers that cross my path, like random people that just cross your path and they say something or you have a conversation and you turn around and they disappear. Like, I've received a bracelet when I was getting food in a food line, and this woman came up to me. She gave me this bracelet that said, "You matter, never give up." And I was like, "What? Thank you." Like, and I needed to hear that. And then I put it on and I looked for her. She was gone. 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 Just gone. So, um, so I began noticing hawks like never before shortly after my father passed, and I still see hawks. Just last Sunday, I saw a pair of hawks. I think it was a couple because they were talking to each other, and I caught it on videotape. And then before I knew it, they were gone. They were gone. And so it was just that brief moment that I was able to capture these beautiful hawks. And I swear they were there. But I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, did they go over the mountain? Are they coming back? And they never came back. So things like that. And then I'm constantly driving still around town, and I'll see hawks at the top of light posts just randomly throughout the freeway. Like, how most people are just looking right there, right in front of them, right? Just driving. And I'm seeing, and I notice these animals, these birds, and it blows my mind. So that's why I've chalked it up that must be a spirit animal. Um, Maybe I was a former hawk in a former life. I don't know. I do have dreams of flying. I have very lucid, vivid dreams of flying like a bird. So I'll be a bird. That's like the ultimate freeing thing I think you could ever imagine, if you could be reincarnated as something other than like an angel, but like to be able to be a bird flying anywhere. I'll be a bird. I would see them on lampposts, street lights, street signs, on the highway, wooden fence posts, or just flying above and passing over me. I cannot explain it quite. I cannot explain it quite elaborately, but I believe I may have a spirit animal. Okay, I'm reiterating. A spirit animal refers to a spirit that helps guide or protect a person on a journey whose characteristics that person shares or embodies. Therefore, I believe that maybe my father is still here looking after me. When I see them, I am immediately overwhelmed with love, comfort, and strength. The hawk also symbolizes the ability to use intuition and higher vision to complete tasks and make crucial decisions. Hawks represent the messengers of the spirit world, or seeing a hawk means that the universe wants you to learn powerful lessons, perhaps to expand your knowledge and wisdom. So the fact that I just saw them on Sunday was quite a message that I'm plugging in to my knowledge bank of what the universe is teaching me all the time. Because when you're in tune with the universe, it is constantly teaching you things. It is constantly, and it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. And so my father and I, as I mentioned, had a really unique father-daughter relationship. Because of Debbie and Leroy, so Debbie is my birth mom, Leroy is her father. Both were not very good people in my life growing up. My father took being a father very seriously, especially after gaining full custody. He knew my life was in the balance scales if left to the care of Debbie. Throughout my life, my father was always protective. That was his nature. But with me, he never wanted me to become like Debbie. I believe his love and constant protection over me are still unfolding in my life. I find it entirely magical and unbelievable at times that my father is still somehow looking out for me. For the hawk to be my chosen spirit animal makes me feel secure and strong. As I mentioned, I've always had a higher intuition or vision than most. I have had to make decisions and do things to survive beyond my age, much like the hawk. And so that's like a loaded paragraph right there. My birth mother, Debbie, was always an alcoholic, drug addict, in and out of jail, homeless, 5150 type of person. I could never have a relationship with her. And my father took full custody of me when I was just a baby, and he gave me the best life ever. and he loved me and he believed in me and he saw the good in me and he never gave up on me. And so um, that's what I mean by my dad being kind of like a hawk in a way. Like maybe he's reincarnated. I don't know. I mean, maybe my cats are too. Who knows? But it all is very magical when you see these animals that appear before you over and over and over, and you can't deny the magical presence of these animals. So it could be any kind of animal to you. It doesn't have to be the hawk, but it could be anything. It could be numbers. It could be a sequence of numbers that might occur in your life. It could be random, just anything. It doesn't have to be specific to like what I'm talking about. But I don't know. I know my dad even in my dreams still I have dreams where my dad is holding me or brushing my hair or talking to me or helping me through a situation, because I have very lucid dreams. So lucid that I can recognize a dream, know that I've been there before, and alter its outcome to get out of the dream. I It's bizarre, my dreams. And actually, that's going to be a conversation on my podcast to talk about dreams. So maybe you can give me some input as to your own dreams and we can talk about it. 7:37. Let's see how far do we have to go. Oh, I got to stop talking. Okay. We are on page 225, Dragonflies. I also have never noticed dragonflies in my life before my father passed. So I never noticed really much, but I started noticing birds and I started noticing dragonflies and butterflies. Upon his passing, I began to see more than usual. I started to realize how much they visited me when one would randomly land on something near me and pause, or they would buzz around me when I was working outside, circling around my head as if observing every move I made. So, like, this would be right after my dad passed away. My stepmom still lived in the house that he passed in on Harrison, and it had a huge backyard and yard. And so I helped maintain the yard, plant flowers, maintain the gardens, and all that stuff. So there would be random, like, dragonflies just, and one would sit and like just scope you out and like, their big eyes, just looking at you. And I'm like, okay. And then when I had my Dragonflies cleaning company, I would go to houses and clean houses and the dragonfly would land on my antenna. In fact, in my book, I have a picture of one on my antenna. There it is. There it is. Yep, it's a copper dragonfly. Copper orange dragonfly at the Harrison house. Right there on my antenna. So this stuff would happen, right? And I'm like, and it still does. I'll be in my car and I'll see a dragonfly zooming with me. And I'm like, this is nuts. Who sees this stuff? Very rarely do you see a dragonfly zooming through the air. They're very fast. Okay. Okay. I had one land on my car antenna once, like I just showed you. It was a beautiful, large red dragonfly. I have always loved dragonflies, and when I learned how much they are capable of, I fell in love with yet another beautiful creation of God. Let me share some fun, knowledgeable facts about dragonflies with you. The dragonfly is actually not a fly, since it has 4 wings as compared to flies, which only have 2 wings. It is often confused with damselflies, Their difference is when each of them is resting. Damselflies hold their wings together, whereas dragonflies hold its wings horizontally and slightly downward forward, like kind of like out, right? Like a fly holds it like kind of back, and a dragonfly just holds it out, kind of down. A dragonfly's hind wings are also broader near the base than a damselfly. Their eyes are also different. Dragonflies have excellent eyesight. Oh my gosh, when you learn about the eyesight of a dragonfly, you you're gonna be fascinated at how many dimensions they see in. Like it's nuts. And that's how they're able to catch everything, because they're like looking in like so many directions all at once. It's nuts. Um, the dragonfly's eyes touch. So the dragonfly's eyes touch just like right there. Well, you can't really see, but the eyes touch. Um, and the damselflies are separated. So damselflies have like a little more space in between, like our nose. There's a little space. Dragonflies have excellent eyesight. Each eye is made up of thousands of six-sided units. So that's what I mean by it's able to look and see in all kinds of directions. Like it's like a pyramid almost, their eyes. Like they can see in six-sided ways. Talk about amazing. Hello, there is a God, right? There has to be, right? These eyes enable the dragonfly to detect even the slightest bit of movement. They have large optic brain lobes where 80% of their mental processes are devoted to vision. So, obviously, because they're a predator type bug, and so they're looking for little things to catch in the air to feed. So they're like the matrix in their eyes, like, I mean, it's crazy. They can detect color, ultraviolet light, and polarization. So polarization is like when it gets cold. They can, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that simply amazing? It is also said that the dragonfly name comes from their fierce jaws, which they use to catch their prey. Dragonflies have long, delicate membranous wings, which are transparent. Their bodies are long and slender with short antennae. They are also very colorful. Some are green and blue, such as the green darner dragonfly. Some are yellow, such as the emerald darner. Meanwhile, the comet darner is red, much like the one that landed on my vehicle in the antenna, like you saw the picture. I remember as if it was just yesterday. It was a large and vibrant red, much like the one that landed on my vehicle antenna once. I remember it as if it was just yesterday. It was a large and vibrant red. It stayed long enough for a photo opportunity. The real magic about dragonflies, in my opinion, is in their wings. Dragonflies can beat each pair of wings together or separately. So they can actually move each of these wings. They can move them separately. All four of them separately. And their rear wings can be out of phase with the front wings. So it literally is amazing how they can maneuver their wings. Yes, did you catch all that? This little insect can travel with four wings in all five directions. Up, so the dragonfly can go up, down, side to side, forwards and backwards, and all while changing its orientation. So up, down, side to side, forward and backward. Like that's 5 directions. That's pretty amazing. Aren't you amazed yet? One last fascinating fact, dragonflies can also tilt their heads 180 degrees. 180 degrees. They can change their heads at 180 degrees. 7 degrees backwards and 40 degrees downward, because dragonflies can maneuver in many directions. It allows them to be able to outfly their prey. What a fantastic creature. Isn't that fantastic? Like, I think that's just the supreme insect of all. Like, dragonflies are pretty cool. And they don't live very long. In fact, like they start as a little nymph, then they blossom into a dragonfly, and they live maybe 24 hours, maybe longer than a day, but not very long. In 2014, Mark, my boyfriend before New Life for Girls, passed away from a blood clot in his lungs. So Mark was, Mark was right here. This is Mark. He was my boyfriend. I can't really see, yeah. But this was my boyfriend when we were in our drug addiction, and he was a wonderful man. He was a wonderful, wonderful man. We never got back together. After we both got sober and whatnot. But Mark loved me to the very end, and we stayed in connection, and he moved over to Georgia to be with his mom. And out of the blue, in 2014, he passed away of a blood clot. And it was a surprise. It was a shock. It was really sad. I was able to be there for his funeral, thank goodness. His family invited me. But in 2014, Mark, my boyfriend, before New Life for Girls, so New Life for Girls was the last program that I got help. It was a program that started in Fresno for 6 months, then shipped you off to Pennsylvania for a year, and then off to maybe another intro. So it was about 2 years away in a program, and that program was the one that got me my life back. So Mark passed away of a blood clot in his lungs. His family invited me to the funeral while I spoke about his character and the love we had shared. It was a very beautiful service as we celebrated the life Mark had inside of him and his passion for music. God, he loved music. In fact, I listened to Elvis Costello. I was listening to it today. He loved Elvis Costello, and he would sing Elvis Costello songs to me. That's how he kind of won my heart. It was a beautiful service as we celebrated the life of Mark. Then in the same year, I met and fell in love with a man in a wheelchair. Yeah, I fell in love with a man in a wheelchair. Brett had a smile ear to ear when we first laid eyes on each other. It was at a party that I had been invited to by the guy I was dating at the time. We were all getting our food and making our plates when I noticed that no one was helping Brett. He needed help, so I walked over to him and asked him if I could get him his plate or help him make his plate. We locked eyes instantly, and he almost thanked me with his eyes as he said yes, as well as thanking me verbally. I didn't notice his wheelchair then. All I saw was a radiant person. The other guy I was seeing ended up moving out of state, which made me available to date again. So yeah, this was quite very unique. I didn't ever foresee myself falling in love with a man in a wheelchair. That's not very common, unfortunately, but Brett was really handsome and funny and capable. He was he was very capable. He drove. He was going to school. Like, he lived on his own. Like, he was very independent. So I was like, wow, okay, Um, so yeah, love sometimes does not. Well, love shouldn't judge. Love really shouldn't. If your heart feels it, then it feels it. Um, and it felt it. And I had a really great time with him. Um, so we're on page 227 and we're at 751. I wasn't sure if we were going to finish. Well, we definitely, yeah, we're not going to finish. Yeah, we're not going to finish. I'm just going to stop there. I think I'm just going to stop there. And leave you guys hanging for what's going to be next. Between me and this guy in the wheelchair. Right? So 210. We're done. And then we will resume the 17th. On page 227, subchapter A Love So Beautiful, because it really was a wonderful relationship with Brett. And what I learned from that whole experience, because that is quite a long discussion there. So we'll give that time, and then we will be done with chapter 6, and then we're just going to keep resuming on Tuesdays. There's not going to be Sundays. I'm not doing Sundays, but we're going to resume on Tuesdays. And then after the book is done being read, I have some ideas to continue and reflecting and talking, keeping us engaged with each other. I really appreciate your support. This podcast means a lot to me, and I know it's going to grow even more. We do also have, well, I do, but my interview with Jim Horton that I did back in, Jim Horton was January 17th. So that's now live on TV. If you have cable, it is, let's see, if you have Xfinity, you can go to CMAC 1, and it's Xfinity channel 93. And then, or you can go to Uverse. If you have Uverse, it's channel 99. And I'll tell you the lineup. Today it played for the first time, but we have Friday, February 13th at 12:30. We have Monday, February 16th at 9:10 in the morning. So February 13th is at 12:30 p.m. in the afternoon. Monday, February 16th is 9:10 a.m. in the morning. February 18th is at 6:30 p.m. in the evening. And then the last one is February 20th at 12 p.m. in the afternoon. So you've got some options to listen to the interview with me and Jim. It's on the drug crisis. Jim lost his father to a heroin overdose. And then I have 21 years of a heroin addiction. I have 21 years sober from a heroin addiction. And it's a really intimate interview with Jim and understanding what a parent goes through with losing their child. I'm glad I didn't have to put my parents through that, but I did put my parents through a hell of having a child be addicted and just all the things that parents go through with having a child be addicted to drugs and not knowing how to help them. It's just a horrible, horrible, horrible thing that takes a toll on families, and it happens to a lot of us, and we don't talk about it because we don't know where to talk about it or who to talk about it, and we feel shamed, and we want to keep it quiet, and we don't want to ruffle the feathers, I guess. But please watch that episode and that interview. Support Jim Horton. If you do need resources or information, you can go to the Zachary Horton Foundation.org, and there you can get linked up with how to find help. And we will resume next Tuesday, the 17th. At 7 p.m., we will finish chapter 6 and then dive into 7. All right? Have a lovely week and set good intentions. Be good to yourself. Love yourself. And just enjoy life. You got to roll with the punches, right? All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you.